Okay, so our film idea is about, well really the storyline is, on the 1st January 2001, Twyford, as you know it, got closed down after there was quite a gruesome suicide on the scene, and then there was a lot of mystery surrounding why it happened and how it happened. So the school basically had to be locked off. And ever since, parents really just stopped sending their children to that school. And so eventually it was just closed off and keep out signs were put across. And so, now on the 1st of January, 10 years later, in 2011, we've got a group of like the cool kids, you could say, who want to be rebellious, want to keep their social status. And so they always think, what's the better way to do that? Let's go into the abandoned school called Twyford. And let's go in there. So they go in there, and what keeps happening is that there's power cuts. But what happens is that each time there's a power cut, well, the first power cut happens is when they enter. But they start to go off in different directions because they all can't see where they're going. So they end up being, split up and disorientated by the darkness. Then the lights switch on. What happens to our lead character, Troy, is that he stumbles on the corridor of where the person who committed suicide was, the young person who committed suicide was. And he bumps into the ghost of that person, but you all see the physical form of that ghost. But what he does, it's going to be he, possesses the lead character, Troy. And so what he ends up doing is going back under the influence of that murderous spirit who wants to get back at students who resembled the ones that caused him to commit suicide, and goes around killing the other ones who disturbed on the high school. Yeah, that's the film idea. At the end. So character profiles we have. Okay, so we have Troy, as I said, who's our main character, who is really the lead instigator of the whole venture into the school. Like, he's the one who convinces the other people around him, like, let's go. When the others try to back down, he makes a comment that would infringe upon their social status. And so basically that's what causes all of them to go. Then we have Kerry and Tanya, who are like, in high school we have those girls that would tend to always be together and always want to be doing everything that's cool. So yeah, they go along with the group. There's also going to be other characters, but they're not as significant as these three. They are going to be in there. They will be killed by a Troy, by the possessed Troy, but they're not as significant as to have their own like personal storyline and personalities. Is there anything you don't want to add to the spoken twice? Because if I remember that, there's 4 of us sat down here.
We just played the meeting video.
Sorry?
The meeting video.
No, that's it.
Just play it.
That's it.
So is that enough?
Let's give it to the floor. Questions?
There's no editing this.
You lot should talk, man.
Maybe if you've got questions, then you could give
Yeah, just
responses.
ask us and then
But edit it.
Tom,
But
you lot should
wait,
have
let's have a
something.
break that I can edit it from.
All right, Tom.
Edit what?
How are you going to sort of like portray this ghost guy? Like, because you said it was going to be a physical like character, but like, what will you get like an actor to like sort of play him?
I'll do it.
But like, how are you going to make it like portray him as like a possessed?
Well, what he's going to be doing is wearing old clothes that he would have worn when he committed suicide. He's going to have a washed out face, sort of. Well, he's going to obviously have some sort of powder, well, acid powder on top of him, and he's going to have these red contact lenses that show that he's a spirit, but he's obviously out for revenge. And so when Troy becomes possessed by him, Troy will have the red contact lenses as well to show that he's under his influence.
Also, one more. I've got another question.
Yeah.
How like you said that it's sort of obviously you're gonna film in Twyford.
Yeah.
But like if it's meant to be like say 10 years after this thing, and like the school's meant to be closed
Yeah.
for 10 years, how are you sort of gonna make it look like the school's not sort of in use now, if you know what I mean? Because because obviously like it's not gonna like lights and stuff. You know what I mean?
But what we're hoping to do is to use the time that sort of outside, what outside looks like, choose our timings well to film first of all. We might have to ask, we might just have to put stuff like masking tape or whatever, and just maybe colour that in or something. Or make something to make it look like it's a bit run down, take down a few posters, put up new posters but rip them. Like I can make a cheap one off the computer, things like that.
You might want to also saturate the colour in the edit
Yeah.
to give it a different feel.
So
Tamer?
Yeah, what are you going to do about lighting? Because if you can't film in pitch black, but the power cut is meant to be in pitch black.
but what you won't see is what happens in the dark. It's a trailer. So what you'll see is well, obviously the ones because in the equipment list, is there a prop list? There's a flashlight as well that they'll have when they go into it because they're going in the dark. So what you'll see is when they're have the flashlight, what we'll have is when something bad happens to them, you will see it because otherwise that wouldn't make a trailer. You'll see like one or two of them being dragged or something. You'll hear a scream, but it's all we edited well, so it will create suspense. So you won't actually properly see.
How bloody and gruesome is it? Are we talking 12, 15 and 18?
Not 18, probably about 15.
12 A.
Alice?
How are you going to get time to film the school? Because if you're doing it like just after school or something, there's still going to be teachers around and there's going to be like the cleaners, they're always going to be making noise. So.
Not really. If we choose our timings well, like we did last year, we did that around school. So we've worked out a schedule to do it. Teachers tend to be in their classrooms after 3:30 anyway. So corridors we're going to be using. But we're going to stay later on as well in school. As the later the school day goes on, the emptier it becomes and less busy. So that's what we're going to do.
I think you said enough about this thing.
Does your narrative have enough twists and turns? If it's based in a school,
Yeah.
how will it keep the audience engaged? Is it just one death after the other, or is there a relationship forming between them that they want to beat the ghost to get out? Or
Well, it becomes do they want to kill their friend or do they want to try and try and convince him to fight against the influence of the child or speak to the child that was possessed? I mean, the child that commits suicide, that's possessing child.
what genre is it? You said horror.
Horror.
Just a horror.
Horror thriller, probably.
You might want to think about, because I'm ordering new filters, and you might want to think about using a filter system on the lights.
So is the guy that committed suicide 10 years ago, his body or his ghost is still remains in Twyford?
Yeah.
And they go in there to just be rebels and just find out.
Yeah,
And
because they've heard it has a bad reputation to be an abandoned, haunted school.
Okay.
Any more questions? Are you going to fire to the rest of them?
You said enough, Alistair.
Okay, should we stop?
It's not thank you. Should be let's all say something next time.
Goodbye.
This is getting edited.